Do you work with hazardous substances at your workplace and want to protect yourself and your employees from harmful or toxic hazardous substance vapors in the best possible way? In this video, I show you how to do this. As soon as hazardous substances are used in everyday working life or end products with properties that are hazardous to health or the environment are created, care must be taken to ensure that health is protected in the best possible way and that legal safety standards are complied with. The control of substances hazardous to health regulations requires you to adequately control exposure to hazardous substances in the workplace. In order to protect employees, COSHH requires every company to carry out a risk assessment to determine the risks and hazards posed by such substances. The so-called STOP principle supports you in this and is made up of the following points. S stands for substitution. In other words, can hazardous substances be dispensed with or replaced with less hazardous substances during the activity? T stands for technical protective measures. What technical measures can be taken to ensure protection for people and the environment? O refers to the organizational protective measures. For example, can work processes be optimized to increase protection? P are the personal protective measures. Only if the previous measures are not sufficient is personal protective equipment such as protective clothing, goggles, or respirators used to minimize the remaining risks. Wherever hazardous substances are stored, they are normally also processed in some way. So, the question is, how do you process hazardous substances in your day-to-day work? The three most common methods of handling hazardous substances that we know from practice are: 1. Unprotected work on workbenches or laboratory tables. In the best-case scenario, personal protective equipment such as gloves and good ventilation are used. This is inadequate for day-to-day work with hazardous substances and does not comply with current occupational safety standards. 2. Point or source extraction. The challenge with this technical measure is that the operator must guarantee and prove the effectiveness of the measure. This is particularly difficult with this type of technical ventilation, as the effectiveness depends on the distance to the source of exposure and the activity, in addition to the exhaust air volume. For example, if the distance between the edge of the source extraction system and the emission source corresponds to the cross-section of the extraction pipe, the effect is only 5%. There are other certified solutions such as fume cupboards in accordance with BSEN 14175 and laminar flow tables. These solutions are often cost-intensive, oversized for many industrial applications, and also require a comparatively above-average ceiling height for installation. I would now like to introduce you to another way of protecting people and the environment when handling hazardous substances. The GAP Hazardous Substance Workstation from asecos. Our GAPs guarantee maximum safety and health protection for the user and prevent the formation of hazardous, explosive atmospheres, even without the use of a sash. We have tested this in accordance with the BSEN 14175, Part 3 ventilation test. This so-called robustness test verifies the retention capacity even in the event of disruptive external influences. The test limit value of 0.65 ppm outside the device is not exceeded, thus confirming the effectiveness of the hazardous substance workstations. Another big plus point is that you can configure your hazardous materials workstation exactly as you need it. You can choose between different sizes, designs, work surfaces, supply and disposal variants and working heights. The GAPs can also be set up and operated at a normal ceiling height of 2.5 meters. By using the fresh air curtains in the upper and lower areas of the front opening and the extraction system on the rear wall, you as the user benefit from maximum freedom of movement and a highly efficient form of pollutant collection for all activities that do not require splash and splinter protection. An additional advantage is that it is possible to install the GAP on an existing work surface, for example as an enclosure for existing systems or processes. You already have an asecos hazardous substance workstation, but your area of responsibility and the associated requirements have changed. No problem. Hazardous substance workstations can be modified and adapted on site. Compared to appliances with a similar range of tasks, the GAP also impresses with its moderate price and wide range of applications. Below I will show you some examples of how our hazardous substance workstations are used in practice. Here you can see a hazardous substance workplace for bonding, potting and cleaning at Endress and Hauser Flowtech AG in Rheinbach, Switzerland. This practical example shows the hazardous substance workstation on a mobile investigation vehicle of the Cologne Fire Brigade. The Bochum City Archive uses our GAP for restoration with solvents. A hazardous substance workstation with a supply system is also used in Krefeld by the Rhein-Ruhr-Wupper Chemical and Veterinary Investigation Office for the activities that arise. And in Landsberg am Lech, a hazardous substance workstation with an underbench cabinet for analyzing water samples is even used in the prison. As you can see, there are virtually no limits to the various applications and uses of asecos hazardous substance workstations. Contact us, we will be happy to help you.